Hello and welcome, language enthusiasts and curious minds. Today, we're diving into a fascinating aspect of the English language that has puzzled many, the curious case of lieutenant versus Leftenant. This isn't just about a word, it's a journey through history, culture, and linguistics that shapes the way we speak. So grab a cup of tea, sit back, and let's unravel this intriguing pronunciation puzzle together. In this video, we're going to explore the origins of the word lieutenant, understand why it's pronounced so differently in British English, and how this reflects broader differences between British and American English. We'll look into the linguistics behind this pronunciation, delve into its military and historical context, and even see how today's world perceives and uses these variations. By the end of our journey, you'll have a comprehensive understanding of not just lieutenant versus Leftenant, but also a deeper appreciation for the quirks and intricacies of the English language. So, are you ready to discover why a single word can sound so different across the Atlantic? Let's get started. The origins of the word lieutenant. Let's begin by tracing the roots of the word lieutenant. This term, central to our story today, actually originates from the Old French word lieu, meaning place, and tenant, meaning holding. Literally translated, it means holding in place of or deputy. This word made its way into Middle English around the 14th century, a time when French was the language of the English court and military. But how did this French word evolve into the two distinct pronunciations we hear today in British and American English? That's what we're about to find out. Understanding the journey from French to English is crucial in unraveling our pronunciation puzzle. As the word lieutenant traveled from France to England, it was anglicized, adapting to the phonetic and linguistic norms of the English language. However, the way it was adopted in British English retained more of its French flavor, hence the pronunciation closer to the original French. But as we know, language is a living, breathing entity, always evolving. The American English pronunciation veered towards a more literal interpretation of the spelling. This divergence is a perfect example of how languages evolve and change, influenced by culture, history, and human interactions. British English versus American English. Now let's delve into the fascinating divergence between British and American English. The pronunciation of lieutenant is just one example of how these two versions of English have developed unique identities. While British English often preserves older forms and pronunciations, American English tends to simplify and modify them. This difference is partly due to historical factors like immigration and geographical isolation, which led to American English evolving independently from its British counterpart. The result? Two distinct flavors of the same language, each with its unique charm and quirks. But it's not just lieutenant that highlights these differences. Consider words like herb, where Americans drop the H, or schedule, pronounced with a esk sound in American English and a esh sound in British English. These variations are not just about pronunciation, they reflect deeper cultural and linguistic trends that have developed over centuries. As English continues to evolve globally, these differences become markers of identity, influencing how English speakers across the world perceive and communicate with each other. The Leftenant phenomenon. Moving deeper into our exploration, let's focus on the Leftenant phenomenon in Britain. The pronunciation Leftenant is believed to have originated in the 17th century. It's an example of metathesis, a linguistic process where sounds or letters switch places. The IU sequence in lieutenant was particularly challenging for English speakers, leading to the LU configuration and eventually the lef sound. This change was also influenced by the socio-linguistic context of the time, where French was considered the language of the educated and the elite in England. By pronouncing lieutenant in a way that was closer to its French origins, speakers were perhaps signaling their social status and education. Interestingly, the pronunciation Leftenant isn't uniform across all of the UK. While it's the standard in the British Army and Royal Navy, you might still hear Lieutenant in the Royal Air Force and in certain regions of the UK. This variation underlines the rich tapestry of dialects and accents within the British Isles. It's a testament to the diversity of the English language and how local cultures and histories shape the way we speak. The Leftenant pronunciation, therefore, is more than just a linguistic curiosity. It's a window into the cultural and historical nuances of British English. Linguistics. Behind the pronunciation. In this section, we delve into the role of phonetics in the evolution of language, particularly in the case of lieutenant versus Leftenant. Language is not static, it's a dynamic entity that evolves over time. Phonetic changes, like the one we see in Lieutenant, occur due to a variety of factors: ease of pronunciation, influence of other languages, and even social factors. In the case of Leftenant, the phonetic shift from EU to Lef reflects a broader pattern in language evolution where sounds morph to adapt to the phonetic environment of the adopting language. This adaptation makes pronunciation more comfortable for the speakers of that language. Similar cases in English pronunciations. English is replete with examples of such phonetic evolutions. Think about the word night. In Old English, it was pronounced with a hard K and a guttural geesh, much like it's spelled. Over time, as English pronunciation evolved, these harder sounds were softened, leading to the modern silent K and GH. This natural progression of language over time showcases the fluidity and adaptability of English, reflecting changes in society, technology, and interaction with other languages and cultures, the influence of military and historical context. In this part, we explore how military jargon has impacted language, particularly the pronunciation of lieutenant. The military has always been a significant influence on language, often serving as a conduit for new terms and pronunciations. In the case of lieutenant, its adoption and perpetuation in the British military played a crucial role. The military environment, with its emphasis on tradition and hierarchy, tends to conserve older forms of language. This conservation helps explain why the pronunciation lieutenant has persisted in the British Army and Royal Navy, even as the language around it continued to evolve. The pronunciation of words like lieutenant is also shaped by historical events. For instance, the Norman conquest of England in 1066 brought a significant influx of French words into the English language. This period marked the beginning of the Anglicization of many French words, including military terms. Additionally, the evolution of English-speaking armies, their engagements in various parts of the world, and their interactions with other languages have all influenced military terminology and pronunciations. The story of Leftenant is thus interwoven with the tapestry of English history, reflecting the ebbs and flows of societal changes over centuries. Present-day usage and perception. In the present day, the differing pronunciations of lieutenant versus Leftenant offer a fascinating glimpse into contemporary perceptions of language. In some circles, the British lieutenant is seen as a mark of tradition and heritage, while the American lieutenant is viewed as more modern and straightforward. These perceptions are more than just about pronunciation. They reflect broader attitudes towards language, history, and identity. In a world where English is increasingly a global lingua franca, such variations add to the richness and diversity of the language, offering multiple ways of expressing and understanding the same concept. To further understand the current usage, let's look at some surveys and statistics. Recent studies show that while lieutenant remains the standard in British military and formal contexts, the American lieutenant is gaining traction in common British usage, especially among younger generations. This shift is indicative of the influence of American media and the global spread of American English. However, Leftenants still holds a special place in British culture, symbolizing a connection to the past and a distinct national identity. These statistics not only illuminate the current state of the pronunciation debate, but also hint at the future trajectory of these words in the English language, the global impact of English pronunciations. As we consider the global impact of English pronunciations, it's essential to recognize the role of English as a dominant language in the international arena. The variations in English, such as lieutenant and Leftenant, are not just curiosities. They reflect the global diversity of the language. English is spoken by millions of people worldwide, not just as a native language, but also as a second language. This global reach means that the way English is spoken, including its various pronunciations, influences international communication, diplomacy, education, and media. The story of lieutenant versus Leftenant is therefore a microcosm of the broader story of English as a global language. The media and education play pivotal roles in shaping and disseminating English pronunciations. Movies, TV shows, news broadcasts, and educational materials often serve as the primary sources of language learning and exposure for many people around the world. The pronunciation used in these mediums can significantly influence how English is learned and spoken globally. For instance, the dominance of American media has popularized American pronunciations and idioms worldwide. Conversely, the growing international popularity of British media, like the BBC and British films, has introduced and reinforced British pronunciations and expressions. This interplay between media, education, and language is a powerful force in shaping the future of English pronunciations globally. Conclusion and recap. As we come to the end of our linguistic journey, let's recap the key insights we've uncovered. We explored the origins of the word lieutenant, its etymological journey from French to English, and how it evolved into the distinct pronunciations of lieutenant in American English and Leftenant in British English. We delved into the phonetic and linguistic reasons behind these variations and examined the influence of military and historical contexts on these pronunciations. Finally, we looked at the present-day usage and perceptions of these terms and discussed their global impact, influenced by media and education. This exploration into the pronunciation of lieutenant versus Leftenant is just one example of the fascinating intricacies of the English language. Every word has a story, often intertwined with history, culture, and societal changes. We encourage you to continue exploring the mysteries and wonders of language. Who knows what other intriguing tales are hidden within the words we use every day? Before we sign off, we'd love to hear your thoughts on this topic. Do you say lieutenant or Leftenant? Maybe you have other interesting pronunciation differences to share? Drop a comment below. Let's keep the conversation going. And if you enjoyed this linguistic exploration, don't forget to check out our other videos. We've got a treasure trove of content on language, history, and culture that's sure to pique your curiosity. Hit the subscribe button, give us a like, and stay tuned for more fascinating insights. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.